A number of you will remember last year at this event, we celebrated, in alignment with our principles, the cancellation of the Gorham Connector Turnpike expansion. And in trying to do that, and trying to bring some sanity to how we prioritize our transportation dollars, in parallel, these two folks were doing a lot of work trying to spend money on the good things that we should be spending money on in transportation. And we realized, against a phalanx of lobbyists for the pavement industry, we were a little bit outnumbered and that we needed to build something new. And so they're going to talk about it with you.
Thanks, Miles. Yeah, I'll come over here. So Sarah Goodyear said we're very polite, and she was used to that from her time in Maine before. But so let's hype it up for this. So yeah. So I'm Zoe Miller. I'm one of the co-facilitators of this brand new coalition, but it's really an old idea. It's been tried before. What's going to be different this time? Well, I think I wanted to start off by just saying that I do really agree with what Sarah was saying, that, we have more willingness to have these conversations than we've ever had in my lifetime. I think we're having a moment. And, one of the things Sarah said was every single person is affected by transportation every day of their lives, yet it's invisible. So we are working to make it visible. And we took some time. So 4 years ago, there were already many people and organizations who were carrying a concern for Maine's transportation system. I think there are many folks out there in the work that Moving Maine does. We think largely about the folks who can't drive and who struggle to afford transportation. And that number around folks who can't afford it is just growing exponentially. I don't have to tell folks that. But we lacked a structure for working together. And then came Policy Action 2023. So shout out to Build Maine and Grow Smart Maine. Yeah. You started something. And suddenly we were working together. Josh and I don't know if we even had met. And we got together, we started pulling together folks to work on policy. And we had some wins. We did some kind of wonky wins, which is not nothing. It's made a big difference. But we didn't get the money we wanted for transit. And the sentiment in Augusta was, where are you getting this number from? Nobody's been asking for this. And I just sat with that and thought, man, we got some work to do. So we said, let's keep talking. And we knew there was no shortage of Maine people who were concerned about the issue, but people needed a way to make their voice heard. And so we set out to design a coalition. And the question we asked is, how can we show up in a way that demonstrates the collective will and support that we know exists? The support that's in this room, the support that I hear about in every conversation that I have about transportation. And I'm sure that this is, familiar to many folks. Our process included more than 30 organizations who are involved in advocacy, some that aren't able to advocate but weighed in with their feedback. And we really deliberately took the time to grow our relationships, to get aligned. Just because we're on the same side of an issue doesn't mean we can work well together all the time. And so we did that work. We did the relational work. And I think of it as we built a relationship infrastructure that can endure over time. And I'm going to hand it over to Josh to tell you about the rest of it.
Thanks, Zoe, and thank you all. Can we head to the next slide with some of the imagery of the folks that are part of our coalition? And actually, if you're part of the T4ME coalition, could you stand up to be visible in the room right now? We have 15 organizations that comprise, give it up for them. This has been a lot of coordination work amongst these groups, economic development groups, environmental groups, active transportation, passenger rail, public transit, you name it, have been coming together to talk about shared solutions. So we're really excited about the power that we have built. we're even more excited to continue to build that power with all of you. One of the reasons that we're so excited is because of the moment that we are in. And this is a change moment. It is a change moment because things need to change. Right now, it is far too expensive to drive a vehicle. It's not looking like that's going to change anytime soon. It is the second largest expense for most Maine families, transportation. It's also the most dangerous thing that you can choose to do on a day-to-day basis is to engage with our current transportation system as it is, and it's the most polluting sector in the state of Maine right now. We are also the oldest state demographically, and as people are aging out of driving, we need alternatives to get people where they need to go. To top it all off, we are facing a massive transportation infrastructure shortfall. We're seeing reporting actually just this morning that that shortfall looks like $400 million being cut out of Maine DOT's current work plan. And that's repaving and bridges. That means shutting down roads and shutting down bridges and preventing access. It also means that the stuff that usually gets swept under the rug, public transit, active transportation, revitalized downtowns, walkability, are going to be axed. So we're in a moment where the next governor and the next administration needs to come in with a plan to sustainably fund our transportation system in Maine. And we have to be at the table in that conversation to ensure that as we fund the future of the transportation system, it doesn't just look like replicating the past. So that's what we're really excited about doing together. We're a coalition model. We're not a new nonprofit. We're not gonna jam up that space. We really want people to come in, engage with us. We have a steering committee that's gonna guide a lot of our decision making. But what we're basically asking for is more reliable, dedicated funding for multimodal, those modes that don't often get prioritized next to roads and bridges. A transparent decision-making model about how that funding is distributed so that we can engage in that process and know how that funding is distributed. More planning capacity in our state government to actually be able to get to the vision of a shared transportation future that we want. Support for local priorities. Often local priorities, local communities have a vision for what they want to see in their community, but they have technical and financial barriers to get there. And then to top it all off, we want to see visionary long-term planning for an interconnected Maine that works for all of us. So if you believe in that vision, we'd be really excited to have you on board with us. You can join at this QR code that we'll put up here in just a moment. So take a moment, get your phone out, scan that code. You can either join our coalition, you can endorse our vision, or you can just sign up for email updates about how you can continue to be involved advocating for a transportation future. While you're all doing that, I just want to finish off by saying I grew up in West Gardner, Maine, in central Maine, not too far away from here. Yeah, give it up for West Gardner. It's a town of 2,000 people. I think we're maybe pushing 3,000 people. I couldn't see my neighbors growing up, right? But I took the school bus to school every single day. My neighbor Ellen relied on the Kennebec Valley Community Action Program to get to where she needed to go, whether it was medical appointments or the grocery store or what have you. I am so tired of hearing that other options cannot work in a rural state like Maine. It does a disservice to all of the transportation providers who are currently working really hard on chronically underfunded budgets to get people to where they need to go. And it does a disservice to our own history. As you've heard, as you saw from Sarah's presentation this morning, and from, if any of you saw the map of the passenger rail stops that used to exist in Maine in 1896, take a look at it, it's gonna crush your soul. It's so sad that we have moved away from it, but this is a state that was built around public transportation, built around walkability and that last mile access to get to where you need to go. So the premise that we cannot have better options in rural Maine is, I think, an insult to all of us who reside in rural Maine and who know that a better vision is possible. So I'm really excited to work with all of you to get to that vision, and I hope you'll join us. Thank you.